welcome back. I am driving up on those high plains up above the Arkansas River Valley. And I'm headed up towards the Flint Hills of Kansas to a lake for a little fishing, a little running, a little hiking. I'm going to spend the night up there. I am headed to the Sedan Lakes in Sedan, Kansas. There's an old North Lake that was built by the Works Progress Administration, the Civilian Conservation Corps, and then there is a new South City Lake. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to check out both lakes, look at the camping, and see what they got. This grass is a whole lot more brown than it was just 2 weeks ago, headed up to the big iron overland rally. It's a lot more brown. The town of Sedan, Kansas is just about 1,000 people in south central Kansas. It gets its name from a battle fought in the Franco-Prussian War in September of 1870. It was when Napoleon was captured by the Prussians. And yeah, it was the deciding battle. And that is where the name of this little town comes from. To the north of the town, there are two lakes. One is the Old City Lake and one is the New South Lake. We're going to go first to the New South Sedan Lake and look for a campsite, see what we can find. If we find something good, we'll just be staying there tonight, and I will take a look at the Old City Lake tomorrow. We'll take a drive up there then. This tall grass prairie is actually just pretty beautiful. I am really liking my Falcon Wild Peaks. Even with my bike loaded on the back, everything just pulled smooth. The New South Sedan Lake is located in a valley where Deer Creek is at the lowest point in the valley, and that is the source of water for this lake. This is the water source for the city of Sedan as well, so this is pretty important water for the area. Those rocks right there are why they call it the Flint Hills. The topsoil is not very deep here. That's why it's not good for planting. It's good for grazing, but it's hard to plow and disc and prepare this soil properly for actual farming. There are some places. This valley has a rich field when we look at the other side of it later. The Flint Hills is rocky soil and pretty difficult for planting. I fell in love with the first campsite I saw. There was a bathroom close by and a trash can. Maybe not the prettiest, but definitely a little shelter from the sun with the shade. And just a big wide open space with nobody else around. Wow. I think I got a lucky find here. There is one campsite in this area, and I got it level here already, mostly level, and little trash can, bathroom up there if I need it. I'm not sure I want to use it, but little firewood left over. Deadfall on that tree, but yeah. Up above my tent looks okay. I brought my mountain bike to explore some of this other trail here, and yeah, this is going to be okay. I'm impressed. How lucky. Just fits me. It's quiet, remote, not busy. Not a lot of maintenance of the little campground here, but I don't think that's required. Little fire pit. Ah, this is good. This area was just peaceful and quiet. Hey, it's time to look around just a little bit more. I wanted to explore the area and measure it just a little bit. I wanted to do a run in the morning, so really my bike ride now is just scoping out whether or not there's a good place for me to do a 3-mile run in the morning. And I like this little mountain bike. It's an old one. It's been through a lot. I smashed it once on one of my videos. It's a good way to explore and look around a campground. This old abandoned road right here is shown to be property of the city of Sedan, Kansas, and Google Maps actually says it is the route to get up into the campground. So this road is closed. You have to come around on Route 99. It's just shut down. It's now a farmer's field. Maybe there still exists some right away by the city, but it's not open to the public. Right after going across the dam, there was just a little road that goes down to a dock that's being built, and I took the road. I tell you, there's something great about getting back on a bicycle like you're a kid. Maybe it was the slope of the road, maybe it was the trees beside, I don't know, but it just brought back some memories of a construction site that my dad was working at when we were kids. And in the evening, he just brought us back to drive down this old abandoned road. And it was just kind of like this setting right here. Just good memories. This is just the beginning of the climb out of that Deer Creek Valley where the lake is built. It's quite a hill to go, but the beauty of the sun just glistening and gleaming across the top of the tall grass was worth the view. The sign there says camping is $10 a night. That's what I paid, and boy, was it worth it. I was the only person in this campground. Well, I was able to map out a 3-mile run for the early morning tomorrow. This might be my best find of 2025. I really like this. Got some tall grass prairie, beautiful trees. Beautiful valley down where the creek that creates this lake goes. Just pretty. Well, the last fisherman is gone from the lake. I think the only sound out here right now is it's my fridge and the crickets. It's a pretty night. It's right about 65 degrees. It's very comfortable. There's a light breeze. And wow, just beautiful out here. is that other campsite on top of the hill. I'm thinking this might have been a horse camp at one time. It's really pretty up here. After climbing that little hill, I was thinking I'd do like a rocky montage and jump at the top of the steps because you know, I'm 55 and still running, but I think that I might hurt myself if I jump. It's a pretty valley. I'm going to warm the rest of my coffee and make some oatmeal. I like my new windscreen from Tailgater. It gives me a little bit of a heat shield on my plastic table, and it creates a really nice windscreen. It's big and tall, and you know, I actually do have the Tailgater table, but I don't use it very often, and I thought, wow, this is just great. So I actually bought that at that overlanding rally. First time I spent some money for camping for a while there. Anyway, yeah, I really like it as a work surface. So I've had a couple people ask me on occasion if I'm afraid to camp alone, or maybe they were shocked because I like to camp alone. And this really is just an ideal spot here for me and what I like in camping. It is just quiet. I mean, there are a couple boats that have come and got on the lake, but you know, they're not interested in bothering me. You know, last night, late at night, there was a vehicle that came in on the other side of the lake, and I could hear them. Had some music playing, and then they left after a few minutes. But none of that really makes me afraid or stops me from camping alone. I think most of the time those people are doing their own thing. They're fishing. What if they're poaching and fishing? Aren't you worried about? No, I'm not. I'm not getting into their business. They're playing music for a few minutes on the other side of the lake, just driving around with their high school friends or whatever they're doing. They're not interested in bothering me. And you know, there is only one time that I've ever been camping that I ever was concerned, and that's when a vehicle circled the campsite several times at night. We were camping in a loop, and I did get out of my tent and I moved away from my tent into a dark spot. That was an overreaction on my part. The next morning I found them in another area of the campground, and different part of a different lake, and they were homeless people sleeping in their car, and they probably were just looking for a safe place to spend the night. Nobody's really interested in bothering you out here. That's a little bit of self-focus. I do think sometimes when you're alone, you do have to cope with maybe some inner fears. Maybe you have to cope with some self-esteem issues, like maybe I'm not worthy of a safe place by myself. I'm sorry wherever that comes from, but there's no one out here that's particularly interested that I'm here. They haven't even looked at my cool camp setup. Of course, maybe that's why my views are down, because it's not that cool. After going to the camping rally at Big Iron, there was only one guy that stopped and looked at it, and it's cool for me. So it works for me, and I'm just going to stick with it for now. Don't need to be upgrading just for the sake of upgrading. But in terms of safety, there's just nothing out here that's going to bother you. I mean, it would be so rare that you would actually come across the type of a person that wanted to harass you at your campsite at night. I just think that's really rare, and it's a little bit of a self-focused fear, and it's not reality that other people want to bother you. I carry a Taurus Judge, and it's loaded with a personal self-defense round that's filled with shot and discs and balls, and it's for close range. And you know, if something were to happen, it would be more likely to be from wildlife. In this area, there could be a very, very rare black bear, and probably even more rare would be a cat, like a mountain lion that would be in this area. Just not very likely. I do carry bear spray, and I carry a Judge, but really, that in reality is probably a little bit of an overreaction. Maybe because I see other people do it, I think maybe I should because they do, but never needed it. So the first thing I'm going to do this morning is just head out and head up to the top of that hill with the Subaru and take some video. I have joked before on my channel that when I get old and I'm laying on my back in a nursing home, I'm going to tell the nursing assistant to turn on Eric's Camping Adventures, and I'm going to lay in my room and watch all these exciting things that I did. And you know what? There's going to be a cluster of people that get around me. They're going to say, "That's not you. You didn't do that." And I'm going to say, "Oh, yeah, that's me. You don't have that many subscribers." Yep. Well, there's not that many, but yeah. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. But, you know, even if nobody subscribes and nobody watches, I really do enjoy being in the outdoors. I enjoy making these little videos. And if you want to come along, come along. Yeah, one of the issues with this upper campsite up above on the plateau is there's some broken glass over here, so it would not be a place I could bring Max with his paws. Well, this is the second objective for the day, which is to head up and find that old city lake, Sedan City Lake, the first one, and just drive around and see what it's like up here. There is camping up here too. In half a mile, and turn right to today it's actually a pretty busy fishing day. My drone flights did a little bit of a survey, and you can see from the western horn of the South Lake, the bright blue lake ahead. That is the old city lake. The Old City Lake, too, is down in the valley along the drainage of Deer Creek. And it is dammed up north of the new City Lake, and then it travels down and comes down to the new lake. Onyx Off-Road has a pretty good representation of this area. Here is the new lake. That's the new water source for the city. That's about where I'm camped. Up to the north, that is the old lake. That's the old water source. And I think the camping area is in this area. I didn't go over there, but I think that's where it is. There's Deer Creek. Obviously, this lake is a little bit more popular with fishermen. There's a lot of pickup trucks and trailers and lots of boats out on the lake. I have one more objective that I want to accomplish today, and that is to travel up to the Boy Scout ranch because they're opening it up for camping for the public. Looks like there is camping here too. The scouted camp is about 20 minutes northwest of the old city lake, so I'm gonna head up that way. It looked like on the website that anyone could reserve there. I know scouting has kind of fallen out of popularity in some quarters, so maybe they're opening it up for family camping. I don't know, because it did say that there were reservations there for non-scouting groups, so I'm just gonna head up there and look around. The scouting ranch is one of the most well-manicured areas that I have been camping in for a very long time outside of a national park, and maybe even better in some circumstances. State parks aren't maintained like this. National forests, definitely not. Land management areas, other public areas. Now, this was very nice. I did stop and I did talk to some staff, volunteers that were working there, and they did say that yes, the Scout Ranch here is open to public camping on weekends that there are no scouting events, and to contact the office to obtain a list of those weekends. I am going to find out what those are, and I am going to go camping there. The Quivira Scout Ranch is located, probably about 20 miles north of Sedan, Kansas, and it is located on the 475-acre Murray-Gill Lake. It's good for fishing, and hiking trails are all around the area, and of course camping. I'm coming back. On the Quivira Scout Ranch website, it is a little bit ambiguous as to whether or not non-scouting groups can camp there. So after confirming that yes, it was actually true, I took a little drive out in the country. I had an objective, and that was to get to Butcherfalls, and I wanted to take some country roads or some dirt roads. This is not off-roading, it's dirt roading, but it sure was fun. The views were pretty, and I got to Butcherfalls, but I didn't really have a whole lot of hope there'd be a lot of water in it. It's been kind of a dry season up here. You can see from the grass how dry it is, and I really didn't think I was going to find a water just gushing into Butcherfalls. Some of this drive was a pretty bumpy single track, but definitely fun. Well, the pool for Butcherfalls was a little bit of a disappointment, but I really didn't expect to find a bunch of water rushing into it. This is how Google Maps shows that it looks probably in the springtime. Well, it's time to get back to camp. I guess one strikeout isn't so bad. We hit it on finding out if there's camping at the Old City Lake, and there's camping at the Quarriva Scout Camp, and I guess Butcherfalls. That's okay. It fell through. But I'm going to head back to the camp, and there is a trailhead just within about 100 feet of my campsite, and I want to hike that trailhead. It appears on Google Maps that there is a worn trail all the way up to the Old City Lake. And right now, Sam, my son, is getting interested in backpacking. And I think that it would make a nice exploratory backpacking trip to hike from the Old City Lake down to the New City Lake. I'm not sure of the distance, but I think we're both still young enough to pull it off. So this is kind of an exploratory hike. You can see Google Maps on the side and a little red line. That's what I'm going to hike today. But as you zoom in on Google Maps, you can see little impressions or streaks where there is another trail on Google Maps, and that connects up to the Old City Lake. Satellite view on Onyx Off-Road does add a little bit at the South Lake and repeat some up by the Old City Lake. I think between the two, there is some potential that they connect, but this is a pretty rough trail. Might require a little bushwhacking. Well, I don't want to disturb that spider web, so I think I'm just going to turn around and go back the way I came, and we'll call that our before dinner hike. This Hobbit style bridge was just pretty cool. The first time I went over it, I just wanted to make sure the boards were not rotten. I went back across the stones, but this whole area right around the west bank of this creek. Looks like a great place to set up a backpacking tent.
Yeah, you know the ingredients were provided by Michelle, right? So let's get working on this dinner. Well, this has been a really good weekend. I feel like I accomplished a lot. 2 nights camping in a very quiet, empty place. I got to run, I got to bike, I got to hike. I got to kind of drive around the countryside, and yeah, just got to kind of get away and spend some time by myself in the quiet. Can't really beat that these days. It's just hard to find. It's hard to make the time, but I feel like it helps me to kind of settle inside a little bit, just to get away and go back refreshed, ready to take on the world again.